Just a reminder, if you wanted to speak during public comments, to sign up at on the sheet right there. I'd like to call the Florence City Council meeting to order, October 7th, 2024. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councillor Van Houten. Here. Councillor Stiefel. Councillor Mergelman.
Here.
Councillor Gardner.
Here.
Councillor Stone.
Here.
Councillor McKinnon.
Here.
Mayor Wolf.
Here. And just for the record, I'd like to state that Councilman Stiefel is on hurricane relief mission right now, and we applaud him for doing his work there. And we'll thank him for that when he gets back. Okay. First item was a proclamation. Sarah, why don't you come on up to the podium right here? I'm going to do this a little different. Okay. This is a proclamation on domestic violence. Whereas 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 4 men will experience domestic violence during her or his lifetime. Whereas approximately 15.5 million children are exposed to domestic violence every year. Whereas when a family member is abused, it can have long-term damaging effects on the victim that also leave a mark on family, friends, and the community at large. Whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group or groups of people, but crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and societal barriers and is sustained by societal indifference. Whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and/or abuse. Whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need, and domestic abusers should be punished to the full extent of the law. Whereas victims of violence should have access to medical and legal services, counseling, emergency and transitional housing, and other supportive services so they can escape the cycle of abuse. Whereas important partnerships have been formed among criminal and juvenile justice agencies, healthcare providers, allied professionals, and victim services to assist victims of domestic violence and their families. Whereas we dedicate ourselves to protecting vulnerable members of our community. Whereas Florence has a moral obligation to work and to prevent domestic violence, address its brutal and destructive effects, and make ending domestic violence a local priority. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Steve Wolf, Mayor of the City of Florence, Colorado, do hereby proclaim October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Florence, Colorado, and I urge all citizens to actively support Family Crisis Services work toward the elimination of domestic violence. All right, you betcha. You want to get a quick picture? We can, there. Yeah, we'll just do it right here. We need to make these a little more formal, yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay. Now we have public comment. I'd like to remind everybody, state your name and address when you come up, honor the 3-minute limit, and speak to the entire council. First up, Joan Elliott.
I'm Joan Elliott, and I'm the president of the Florence Chamber of Commerce. And our mission is to spread the good news about Florence. So I thought I haven't been up here to talk for a while, and we've got a lot of things going on. So I thought maybe I'd just give you a status check of what's going to go on these next few months and what we have been doing. Right now, what's coming up right now is Fremont Exceptional Women, FEW. And lately we have just been working real hard to recognize all the women that are in Florence. And this year, the banquet is on October 18th, and we have several women that are honored and have been selected to be honored, and then there they will select the finalists. So we have Millie Wintz, who, started at the archives, and she has been instrumental in, the history and the archives of Florence. Cassidy West, she's in the category for let's see, Rising Star, and that's a young woman, Trudy Gagas, who was nominated for her work with all the veterans, and for everything that she's done with putting things together for veterans and for the Elks. Susan Freshour, who has been an activist in, Florence for quite a bit. So they're all going to be honored at banquet. It's October 18th. It's at the Pathfinder. Tickets are on sale, so if you're interested in going, let me know, or I'll let you know where you can buy tickets. Halloween's coming up. We're going to have a great Halloween. I think that if we talk about anything, that what Florence does is we do holidays well. You look at what we've done for 4th of July, and now Halloween is coming. So Wholesome, Langston, a car club, we have a mobile haunted house, we have the Witches Dance, and then we have 2,000 youngsters that are coming up and down the street, and then each the Elks have things. We have another haunted house over on Front Street, and I think that is to raise money for softball. So this Halloween and all of these things, some of them are going on now, but that we do celebrate on October 31st and 5 to 7. We did have a music and art festival called So Long Summer that was to sit in the park and listen to music and socialize, and that was the first year we did it, and it was great. Oh gosh, I didn't even get to half of it.
Just real quick here.
Okay, then we have Christmas. I'm looking to adopt used Christmas trees so we can make a little winter wonderland downtown with Santa when he comes in. We're working on the kiosk that we're going to have downtown, and we're going to have elections in the next couple weeks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joan. Steve Andrews.
My name is Steve Andrews. I live at 257 County Road 119. Thanks for the opportunity to share a few comments with you about Black Hills Energy. I appreciate the fact that you're intervening in the rate case and that you're joining up with Canyon City to do that. That's important. As you probably all know, although I bet most of the folks in the audience don't, and most of the folks in town don't, their rates are going to go up roughly 20%. Their electric rates are going to go up roughly 20% in March of next year, unless Black Hills' proposal to the Public Utilities Commission is heavily revised, if not turned backwards. I would point out that there's been some significant pushback in the last few years. Pueblo tried to break away from Black Hills Energy. In 2020, they failed. Canyon City rejected a franchise renewal in 2020, and it passed 2-1. That was an expression of people not much liking Black Hills Energy. But it didn't change their rates. I came here in September of 2017 and shared some remarks. I have a copy of them if anybody's interested, urging you not to approve the franchise agreement that Black Hills, that was up for renewal, based on advice from your attorney and your town manager at the time. You didn't move forward with that. You re-upped with Black Hills. It makes it harder to break away from them. But if you link up with everyone else, other franchisees in the service territory, who knows? There may be a shot. It's a long one. I'm going to leave you with one thought. You're going to be told that there's going to be a very high cost to this, and all I urge you to do is weigh the benefits against the costs. and the benefits are long-term. A radical state called Nebraska doesn't allow any investor-owned electric utilities in the state, and they seem to be able to keep the lights on. So keep in mind that there are ways forward that do not have to include Black Hills. And I'll just make an offer if anyone's interested. I'd be glad to help with some information gathering. I'm doing deep dives right now into all of their documents. Their FERC Form 1 stuff that they have to report to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, their stuff that they have to submit to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The offer's on the table if somebody wants to touch base.
All right, thank you, Steve. All right, next we have our consent agenda. A, considering approving the minutes. B, consider approving expenditures. C, consider approving liquor license for a liquor locker. D, approving report of change applications for a Florence Brewery. Consider approving a street closure request from the merchants. F, consider selecting an applicant for the vacant position on the Board of Zoning Adjustment. G, approving an IGA for cost sharing dealing with the Black Hills Energy rate case. And H, consider approving the First Amendment to City Manager's Employment Agreement with the City of Florence. At this time, do any of the council members wish to pull any of the items from the consent agenda? I'd like to pull G, consider approving the proposed intergovernmental agreement for cost sharing and common interests with the City of Canyon City regarding the Black Hills Energy rate-making case, just because it was so much legalese. I wanted to hear it maybe in layman's terms, so we'll get to that. So do we have a motion for the other consent agenda items, please?
I'd like to make the motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, and H, please.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes. All right, item G, consider approving the proposed IGA for cost sharing and common interest with the City of Canyon City regarding the Black Hills Energy rate-making case. City Attorney, please.
Yeah, and I'll just start with, I didn't draft this one, so I'm going to use that as why it's so legalese. No, it's a pretty straightforward agreement, even though it is complicated, but this sets forth the, as we just heard about the Black Hills rate case, and we have outside counsel that's a utility expert kind of leading the litigation on that. Us and Canyon City Florence and Canyon City have partnered together, and this agreement sets forth how costs will be shared for the work performed by that utility firm. The proportionate share was decided to be based on a per capita basis, so just compared the populations of both cities, and costs will be split according to that formula. For your purposes, we have many off-ramps as part of this agreement at any point as the litigation either drags on, or, as we have some checkpoints to decide sort of what level of involvement makes sense for Florence. We can kind of get in and out as we need to, but yeah, any questions?
So my question was, do we have guardrails in there for the city?
Yeah,
Answer.
essentially we can get out at any time, but we also have other, I will certainly be in touch with you all if things change or the circumstances of the case suggest our costs will either, increase or decrease. So.
All right, thank you. Can we have a motion to approve item G?
Then I'll make the motion to approve consent agenda G.
I'll second. Second. We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, new business. Consider approving Resolution 11, 2024. Resolution allowing professional office as a use by special review at 100 East Main Street. City planner, please.
Good evening. Jamie Newsom with Mountain View Homes has applied for a special use review for a real estate office located at 100 East Main Street. The property is in the Central Historic Business District. Mountain View Homes has been located at 203 West Main Street, which is also located in the Central Historic Business District since October 2023, after a special use review was completed for that location. A real estate office meets the definition of a professional office per section 17.08 of the municipal code, which is an allowed use in the Central Historic Business District by a special use review. The future land use section in the city's current master plan shows the subject property in the downtown mixed use district. Section 17.68.010 of the municipal code exempts non-residential uses from off-street parking requirements for the CHB zone district. However, the building owner of 100 East Main Street also owns a parking lot to the west across Pikes Peak Avenue and has agreed to lease parking spaces to the applicant. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on September 19th, 2024, after proper notice was published, mailed, and signed posted. The Planning Commission voted 3 in favor and 1 abstention, I can't say that word, sorry, on the special use review application and recommended to City Council for a final decision. Do you have any questions pertaining to the staff report or any information that was included in that?
Did everybody get their email from the merchants?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any comments or questions here? Yeah. You can't talk? Yeah. I know the whole big picture of this is, is a topic for discussion. We're specifically talking about this one right here. And anybody have any questions?
I have no questions. We have the historic district already in place with one address, just merely moving to another from one empty building. So you're still going to have an empty building, just changing locations. And Florence has always been diverse, even in its businesses. Going back to the first business listing in 1887, from the 500 block of West Main Street past the 300 block of East Main Street. We've had blacksmiths, liveries, sign and house painting, drugstores, a coal office, builders, contractors, surveyors, engineering, architects, hotels, mercantiles, groceries, ice cream parlors, doctors, dentists, meat markets, shoe makers, shoe repairers, photographers, furniture and undertaking, harness manufacturing, hardware, oil company offices and drilling, restaurants, millinery, tailors, dressmakers, barbershops, tonsorial parlors, saloons, attorneys, jewelers, laundries, post office. Oh yeah, we had 2 insurance agencies and real estate people in the 100 block of West Main Street. We had lumber yards. We had bakeries, banks, trust companies, buildings and loans, house notions, fire company, city hall, wallpaper stores, a canning office, a pawn shop, scavenger company, bike shops, opera house, and a practical plumber. Just as a few. That's in a 13-year time period in the historic district that we have. We're very diverse. You pull a telephone directory, each one will have a real estate office downtown.
Any other comments or questions?
When I went into retail business down on Main Street, there was a waiting list for retail space. And I would like to see that happen again someday. Not so sure it won't. Our downtown would be a ghost town right now, just like other little towns down Highway 50, if it wasn't for the initiative of a few people to open some antique stores. And I don't know if you remember at one time when everything downtown was vacant, they used to have the silhouettes in the window up above, and those got to be like ghosts. Eventually, those were all empty buildings. Eventually, all the ghosts went away, and those buildings filled up with vibrant retail, tax-producing businesses that changed our Main Street from a ghost town to what's going on right now. And the antique business is a real strange business. It's not like regular retail business. A lot of you people are involved in it, you know what I'm talking about. People come in here and go into business. They do it at a great expense, and they do it at some risk. And I think it's up to the council to consider protecting those people and keeping retail space available downtown. There's destination businesses, destination professional businesses. The people will find if they're looking for that product. But I think our retail space, the spaces that face Main Street and those 4 blocks downtown, those are very precious commodities to our downtown survival and the antique capital of Colorado, or whatever you want to call it. We give that up, people are gonna come in town and want to open a business. There's not gonna be anything available. So I have to go with, on the merchant side of this, with my consideration.
I'll ask Danny. I neglected to ask for public comment before we talked about it up here. We can have public comment now?
That'd be okay, yeah.
Okay. All right. If there's anybody who would like to have public comment, diocese or the podium is now open. Again, name and address.
I've actually, in order to address the merchant's concern and the email that was sent, I actually gathered some of our Main Street merchants here with us so that they would have the opportunity to let you guys know that they are in fact in support of seeing the businesses, the buildings on Main Street have businesses in them and not be sitting empty. So if you guys, would you guys stand up so they can see how many folks here? That way you don't have to speak individually. Janelle. Janelle is actually one of the artists who will be featured. So, and she's also come to support us. So, without having to have everybody come up here and give public comment, just so that you guys know, not every merchant in Florence is in agreement with not growing our Main Street. Some of us do feel very passionately about the need to grow Main Street. So, that aside, I would like to address the retail sales issue. In that, I have applied for and received my retail sales license. So I am perfectly legal and ready to handle any consigners who don't already have that license. I have also created a bank account and a merchant's account through Square. So I will have the ability to assign consigned purchases to everybody, automatically collect the taxes. I also have gotten insurance that will cover the art that will be in the front of the office. That's going to be an additional $700 a year in operating expenses for us, but I'm okay with that. I feel like the foot traffic that featuring hyper-local artists is going to bring into the office is going to be it's money well spent for that $700. So I do have only artists who are right here in Florence or Fremont County. So I'm not bringing anybody from the outside. We will only be featuring hyper-local artists in the building. Now, some of you guys know me, some of you don't. I actually have multiple degrees in business-related fields, all the way up to a graduate degree in human resources development. So I have two bachelor's degree, or a bachelor and a associates in business fields. So I'm well suited to be able to manage and handle any kind of retail operation out of the front of the building. I don't anticipate it to take up a huge part of our operations. We will still keep the same amount of hours. We will still have the same one car parking for the employees. We will never have, it would be very unusual for us to have more than one individual in the office at a time. I've also created a business plan and have had LegalZoom draw me up a gallery consignment contract. So I have all of those pieces in place. And even if it is not a requirement of the city council to be able to operate out of that space, it's still something that I plan on doing. I don't plan on charging them anything, at least for the first 12 months until we get some sort of idea of how it's all going to work. So it will be simply to grow the traffic on Main Street and to help promote and grow local artists who wouldn't otherwise have a platform to do so. Now, we will be doing real estate out of the remaining like 2/3 of the office space, obviously, but we will be able to handle, that person who's in the office will be able to handle any sales or questions that anybody might have regarding the art. There will be 2 windows along the Pikes Peak side that will be dedicated to advertising those local artists so that they will have the opportunity. You know, we won't just be sticking the art on the walls and then ignoring it. We will actually be advertising to people on Main Street so that we can help increase the foot traffic into the office, which as a real estate agent is great. All we need to do is start a conversation. So it's going to be really, I think it's going to be really, really good for us to have that kind of unique piece.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Jamie? Okay, thank you.
Any other public comment?
Good evening. My name is Amy Berlin Hildebrand. I reside at 1328 Kelsey Court in Florence. My husband and I are the managing partners of the Oak Creek Heritage Orchard that is at 800 North Fraser. I'm a member of both the Chamber of Commerce Board and also the Florence Merchants Association. One of the reasons why I'm here today is to applaud Jamie. One of the things that I have noticed at her office where it currently sits is that it is always decorated beautifully. It is always clean and neat, but also it's always interactive with the events that we have in downtown that highlight the merchants. She's often doing things, giving away free ice cream or hot dogs, things that cost money and time, but she's always at the forefront of doing so. Whenever I send business and visitors down to downtown Florence and to the Merchants Association, I often think about the difference between retail and the other businesses. I think the advantage, not only to having the influx of additional businesses, is that people that are visiting Jamie or coming to get a quote for insurance would then have lunch in downtown Florence and maybe go shopping in downtown Florence. Obviously, our moniker, the Antique Capital of Colorado, should be well embraced. I believe that we should highlight also art and history, but at this point, if we don't have active people in the businesses downtown, then we are going to be at a disadvantage as a whole when people come to visit our lovely little area. I give my full support to Jamie in this relocation. Literally, the fact that it is on the same street, just a little bit, literally walking distance down, I am a little disheartened at the lack of the support for a business owner. I do understand that we need more retail, but there are multiple businesses that have had their doors closed in downtown Florence for months and years. She is willing to invest in Florence. I believe that we should be willing to invest in her. And I would like to ask the city council members and the mayor to please support Jamie in this move and vote yes for her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Any last questions or comments from council?
If I could talk.
Yeah.
I have had somebody also support from downtown, support Jamie, another merchant. Okay. So.
And I'd like to say that I understand where the merchants are coming from and I understand their concern. But I feel like Florence has so many empty buildings right now that we need to support a business coming in to Florence. So that's what I was going to say.
All right, could we have a motion to consider approving resolution number 11-2024?
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution number 11-2024, a resolution allowing a professional office as a use by special review at 100 East Main Street.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Counselor McKinnon?
Yes.
Counselor Gardner?
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten?
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman?
I'm gonna be the ogre, no.
Counselor Stone?
Yes.
Mayor Wolf?
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Okay. All right, now council updates. James.
I do not have anything.
Council Mergelman.
All I want to do, I know we do this all the time, but it's very important. The city crew and the city did an outstanding job for Pioneer Day again and Pioneer Park. And I think Pioneer Park, I'm going to put that up against any city park in the state for how much use it gets and how pretty it is. And it's just not the day of the parade. You guys are out painting streets and cutting weeds for days before, so don't think that doesn't go unnoticed. We appreciate it.
And I have to add to that, I want to thank the city for all their support to the Pioneer and that everybody that came. It was a great day, and thank you.
Okay, I won't stress you. That's not-
Outdoor Industry Summit in Canyon City, and it was very entertaining to find out all of the outdoor events that we have, and in Florence too.
Gail.
Again, just echoing the Pioneer Day celebration and how active everyone was, and a few of our people that have not cut their vegetation in their property, I think maybe took notice of maybe what the city was doing and kind of spruced up their yards again. So a few people did kind of, I think, go, oh, maybe we better do that. Also, a few did not, but yeah, it made downtown look a whole lot better than last year. But yeah, thanks, Sam.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And then as part of the Merchant and Chamber membership also, Tammy asked that I talk about the Trapped in the Attic event, which is this Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a crazy sidewalk sale. It all the way from Trapped in the Attic in the 700 block of 700 block of East Main through where the Rialto is. Crazy sidewalk sale. There is also a sidewalk sale participation at the museum, which is 100 East Front Street, just down from Main Street. And that's it. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, the crazy sidewalk sale is 9 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor's report. Got to give kudos to the school district again for their construction. Last couple of weeks we've been up there. The new football stadium and track, and just the comments we've been getting from not only our own citizens, but from the visiting teams that have been coming down to Florence forever. Really, really proud of the school district for that, and it's a good image for the city too. Got to pass on more kudos to the Public Works city crew. I've had some people come up to me and say, "What was the city crew doing out there, sprucing up this intersection, or, you know, clearing up here?" And I saw them today out with the, taking out some of the overhanging branches along our main thoroughfares. So again, thanks for that, and pass that on. I attended the district attorney candidate forum. I met with the city attorney, city manager, and the utility lawyer, Brandon Dittman, to discuss the rate case and provide testimony. City manager may have a little bit more of that in her report. Attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting the other day. And speaking of Black Hills, I just have a public comment I wanted to make on the Black Hills. Just give a little bit of an update. I will get this to you. All right, so you don't have to. Okay. Black Hills proposed rate increases before the PUC at this time, and its case number is 24AL-0275E. It's on, it's all public information on the web. In June 2024, Black Hills Energy notified customers of a proposed rate increase of 18% for residential users and 10% for commercial users. These increases would be on top of the highest rates being paid to the state of Colorado. Since then, several communities, businesses, and organizations have legally intervened in the rate case, including the City of Florence, jointly with Canyon City, City of Pueblo, Pueblo County, and Pueblo Economic Development Corporation. Fremont County has filed a letter of protest to the rate increase. Now, intervention is a legal process involving specialized utility lawyers who help collect testimony that is presented to the PUC, and the city is currently involved in that process. The other avenue of protest is through the individual and collective voices of customers, businesses, and organizations that will be affected by the proposed rate increase, and this is through public hearings and public comment. Recently, I contacted both the Merchants Association and the Chamber of Commerce to make sure they were aware of the proposed rate increase and to see if they had any story of how these proposed rates would adversely affect a specific business. Just wanted to make sure they were aware of it and ready to get involved. I am working under the assumption that all businesses, organizations, and individual citizens would be negatively affected by the proposed increase to our already high rates. Public hearings are scheduled for in Pueblo, October 29th and 30th, Pueblo Memorial Hall, 5 to 8. Canyon City, November 19th at City Hall from 4 to 7. And there'll be an online hearing December 5th from 4 to 7. And they ask you to register for that. If you just bring up the website, you can register for that online hearing. PUC is also having some informational meetings where they provide information about the rate case process and how to provide public comment. This Wednesday in Canyon City at their General Government Committee meeting, October 9th at City Hall, 6 p.m. The PUC will be there, along with the UCA, which helps agricultural and rural communities look at rate cases and rate increases. We have offered PUC to have a public town hall here in Florence. We gave them the dates of October 21st or November 18th. We have not heard back from them yet. At a meeting this afternoon, many questions were asked trying to determine exactly what the proposed rate increase would be. It is more complicated than the notice sent out by the Black Hills to customers in June, and it depends on monthly usage. But it appears that the increases were understated, and people in this group who have been involved for a long time have put questions out there, and we're asking for clarification. I would encourage interested citizens and business owners to attend the meeting in Canyon City on Wednesday at 6 p.m. We will send out notifications if we can set up local informational town hall with the PUC. Okay, so that's just an update. If you have any questions, see me afterwards. And I can also talk to Steve. All right, thank you.
And Steve, I just wanted to mention that if people are not able to attend in person, or even if you are, there is an online written submission option as well.
Okay, thank you. What's that? No, I'll send it to you. City manager.
Yes, most of my information about PUC is kind of redundant to the mayor's information, but we will send out a constant contact tomorrow with all of this information and post it on our Facebook page for the hearings, the informational sessions and such. We are trying to pin them down on getting them here, but if not, I'd encourage anyone who's interested to go to Canyon City's informational session. They're likely to have a lot of significant overlap between the two, as it's a presentation from PUC's staff. It is PUC's decision, due to the proximity of other hearings and timelines, to not hold a public hearing here. So anything we did would just be the informational session. It would not be a public hearing. Those will be in Pueblo, Canyon, and online, as the mayor stated. So I think that's an important distinction. Regardless of if they come for informational session, there will be no public hearing in Florence for this at the PUC's decision, again, due to timeline and proximity of other hearings. You will see the notice of budget will be published in the Canyon City Daily Record on Wednesday, October 9th, with the budget public hearing on October 21st. Along with the notice of budget, we put copies of the budget at various places, including the library and here at City Hall, and we will send one. We post it electronically as well, and we'll send one to the council electronically. So look for that coming out on Wednesday.
Okay, are there any questions for city manager?
I'd have a discussion. Could we ask the city manager to look into parking for downtown?
Absolutely. We can take a look at that. And we are also, at the end of the fourth quarter, going to be releasing the RFQ for the master plan process, which will include significant council and public engagement. So that will be part of looking at the downtown as a whole, and such will likely be part of that master plan process, which you'll see actually starting in 2025. Release of the RFQ is late in the fourth quarter this year.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing, I'd like to go back to Black Hills. Those hearings, are you expected to get up and vocally speak? Or can you submit a written? And
So I don't want to speak with certainty. My understanding would be you certainly could put in to speak publicly, but you can attend and say nothing, or you can submit online and not attend.
would there be some guidelines of information that would be helpful rather than just ranting? I mean, I know everybody's going to be upset about this when they see what their electricity bill is going to be, but sometimes there's things that maybe you stick to the facts, you'll get more attention.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to advise not knowing kind of what they use to make their decisions, but I certainly think, non-emotional language and sticking to the facts, citing numbers, telling stories and impact stories are really what has the chance to move the needle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that's what's going to be clarified by the PUC at the informational meeting in Canyon City on Wednesday. I think part of that's going to explain to the public how to submit your comments and your concerns. City Attorney, anything else?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Public Works?
So anyways, this Schedule A for the tree has been received. They are under contract and under a notice of award, pending CDOT and notice to see. The other bid schedule, another A for some more trees are out now. We expect to get those back this week to get them under contract and notice of award. We have more control over our public right of ways than CDOT, so we don't have to have CDOT clearance for that. We get that out of the way.
Okay.
ADA ramps, 7 of them are out on Schedule A to be, give us more ADA access on Crawford and over on, West Main and Fraser. Some of those, the ADA ramps to be built in those areas. Notice of bid went out for North Pike Peak today. The 900 to 1100 linear feet of 12-inch water main down North Pike Peak. We get the bid schedule, the bid documents on the 11th for that one. On the 21st, we have a pre-bid meeting, walkthroughs with contractors. Then it's gonna be quite a span between the 21st of October and 21st of November. And then, cause they're subs, asphalt subs, the concrete subs, all ducks in a row there, and anodes and stuff like that. They CDOT permits. CDOT permits, I'll grant you, I've heard they're 5 to 6 weeks out, that's why it's taking quite a while to get some of this thing done. But the wheels are moving, if you will.
Okay, that's good. So trees are moving, ADA, sidewalk, ramps are moving, and North Pikes Peak. All right, very good. Thank you. Number 8, executive session. Would anybody make a motion to move into executive session?
Just before that happens, I did want to say we kind of had some placeholder language on here, not knowing exactly where these would be. I do have updates on both cases, so if you would like to hear them,
Okay.
use the "and" when you make the motion, and
Okay.
not the "or."
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion to convene in the executive session?
I'll make the motion to meet in executive session. I'll make a motion pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 4B, an executive session for the purpose of conferencing with an attorney and receiving legal advice regarding specific legal questions related to Stewart versus Sackett, Phillips, Winters, and Glenn versus City of Florence. Pursuant to CR. Oh, sorry.
Do we have a second?
I was just gonna go.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Counselor Gardner,
Yes.
Counselor McKinnon,
Yes.
Counselor Van Houten,
Yes.
Counselor Mergelman,
Yes.
Counselor Stone,
Yes.
Mayor Wolf.
Yes. And
Who
we'd
else?
like to have city manager and city attorney. Since
to
he's
you.
running it. Okay. Okay, we'll convene and move into executive session at this time.
Where's it at? Where's my thing? My throat does not hurt. You got a fancy food. I think it's from the air conditioning. On the, like the plane, the hotel, the ship. It's like, I'm not used to it. I mean, zero at all. ceramic, and that's been there for, oh, maybe 8 years now. Yeah. Yeah, that's a ceramic one. Yeah, that's why I took that photo. Okay. And you? Okay.
off during the executive session.
That's my job.
All right, I'd like to reconvene the Florence City Council meeting at 7:35. I'd like to reiterate that no decisions were made in executive session, and we'd just like to thank City Attorney for the information on those two cases. At this time, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 7:36.
I was beginning to worry nobody's gonna make.
I know it. You guys,